Welcome back, Crocodile. To part 3 of Theories, part whatever of Bendy. So, I'm going to briefly explain about these 2 lovely books. So we have the Employee Handbook, which I have myself. And that is the guide.
Because you're an employee.
I'm an employee. I am an ink creature that's dead in the studio.
Okay.
So first we're going to go after that one, over this one. So it goes over things we already know, but it does add a few details to it. These are an example of things that is added. So like there's dates of events, letters, holidays, vacation time, animating Bendy. So it's a really nice book, especially if you don't know the secrets of Bendy. Like it has the whole chapter 5 Scythe thing in here and how to trigger it. And it's really handy that there's a map of all the bacon soups, which I have loved because I didn't actually go and do them because I'm like, that takes forever. But now I can do them super easy and grab bacon soup as I play. So it is a handy book to have. It adds a little bit of lore, but not like a ton. Now I do think that this book doesn't have every secret of Bendy in the world. And here is why. So, there's actually a mistake in this book. Ooh, yeah, there's actually a mistake. So, the Thedreamfisher is the one who originally found the secret scythe and, of course, posted their discoveries online. So, originally they thought that you can only get the scythe after opening the vault door because that's how they happened to do it their first time figuring it out. And then as other people played, they figured out you can get the scythe actually a little bit sooner from that point. But on the guide, for this guidebook, it has the original instructions that the Thedreamfisher made. And so it says you have to unlock the vault, as you can see from this quote. You have to unlock the vault before you get to the scythe, which you actually don't. So with that in mind, obviously the Meatly and Mike Mood didn't write this book. Like, their names aren't on it. But I don't know how much they've seen of this book, but you can still get the scythe with these instructions. It's just not 100% accurate way to get the scythe. So I think this book is a good way to summarize neatly what the fandom knows. I think there's still plenty of things we don't know that aren't mentioned here in this book, but I think with this little error, it shows that they just wanted to put in this book things that we discovered. So it's like a good way for people that didn't like go crazy into theories like me. You can read this book and be like, oh, I didn't know that. So I think it's overall, like, it's a really good book and I enjoyed it. And I found it helpful for like getting ink and like looking at the maps and stuff like that. And it has fun details. But I consider it canon, but only contains things we already know, is how I view this book. It's canon, but it's not giving us secrets. So, the next book, Streams Come to Life, which I don't have a physical copy, I had the audio copy for that. So, to briefly summarize this up. So, this story is about Buddy, which is his nickname, and I don't remember his real name, but yeah, we have Buddy. But he's poor and he lives with his mother, and his uncle moves in from somewhere from Europe, and he works delivering suits and likes to watch artists in the park draw, and one day he delivers a suit to Joey Drew, who hires him on the spot to run errands around the studio and to have a chance to become one of the artists there. So he takes the job, because why not? Because he pays him like double, even though he's not supposed to hire anyone, but anyways. And he works there, and he befriends Dot, who wants to be a writer, but if I remember correctly, she just fixes grammar stuff and whatnot for the writing department. So, Dot likes to sneak around and discover things, and, you know, has taken, she found Wally's keys and just didn't give them back, so she's got keys for everything. But anyways, they explore the studio and find some things that they shouldn't. First, it's like little things like, oh, look, they're planning Bendyland. And then Buddy finds out Sammy's doing something with the ink. And then Buddy wanders off at night and accidentally lets the ink demon out. Then he realizes Sammy's a little crazy because he's drawing pictures and he's like, that are like really crazy and slipping off the page. And he's literally drinking ink. And eventually, they have to go rescue someone from the ink demon. And then they kind of fight Bendy, and Buddy drowns Bendy in ink, and then he gets pulled into ink, and Joey does something when he's passed out, and then he becomes Boris. And then he runs off to hide and explore the studio. So now I'm skipping a lot of things, obviously. Like, Buddy learns how to draw from his grandfather and things like that. But all the other details, this is a very brief explanation of like what happens in this book. And I can go into more detail if things come up that I need to bring into detail. So now what's interesting is how different people will take different stances on how canon this book is. I don't have a quote on for me right now, but I know that Dreamfisher asked the creator of this book, like, how canon it is, and the creator said yes, but they said it, like, in a weird way that made me feel unsure about if they actually believe it was canon or not. But I wish I had that quote, but I don't have it on me right now. So, but the Dreamfisher, like, takes this book to be mostly canon and will, like, base ideas and theories around it, while Adobe Design takes this book to be more of a fun story that may have something interesting in it, but may or may not be canon. I find it interesting that, at least in my opinion, these are the two biggest Bendy theorists out there, and that they have completely different stances how canon this book are is very interesting to me. But as my own opinion, I agree with Adobe Design. It's a fun story with some interesting ideas, but some characters are really out of character. Like Bertram and Sammy at times, are pretty out of character as far as I've seen them in the game. And Bendy acts a little bit differently than I would say he does in the game as well. He's much faster. And on top of that, there's no, like, Joey Drew Studios or The Meatly or Mike Mood or anything on this book as, like, an author. We just have, you know, a dream. The thing is, too, if we look at the FNAF book, which, you know, has been used in some theories, look, there's Scott's name. He made the games. Scott's there in the FNAF books. I don't see that in Bendy. So I don't know how much they're involved. Obviously, like, to somewhat. Like, the guidebook, at least, it says, like, Joey Drew Studios on it. And it says it, like, in here, like, as, like, the thing. So, like, at least that's something. But this may or may not be canon, but I figure we should at least discuss some ideas and theories that came from this book. And then we'll decide, like, depending on how Dark Revival goes, how canon we want to believe them. So
do you know what connection this author has with the people who made Bendy?
As far as I remember, because the Dreamfisher, I think, asked them, they're like, they just hired them to make a story based off the game, as far as I remember.
Okay.
So, but don't quote me on that. I do not have that quote, and I have not checked that fact. But that is how I remember it in my mind. But I don't remember if someone just happened to say that, and then it was just happened to say. So I don't know 100%.
Okay.
But yeah. But some theories that have come because of this. So, and I've seen a lot of people think of this because of this book, so I'm not saying this is from anyone, because I've seen a lot of people say that. But a lot of people believe that Chapter 3 Boris is actually Buddy from Dreams Comes to Life. Now, we know in the book that Buddy is a Boris and seems to be a pretty good one based off what Joey says about him. But the reason why a lot of people think he could be Buddy is because, obviously, the ink refers to him a lot as Buddy. Henry also says both Buddy and Boris in the game when he's referring to Boris. But so I have a few thoughts about this. But first I could argue, how would Henry know that this is Buddy when, because he doesn't talk. But you can think of Tom. Allison says he just responds to Tom, and that's how we got Tom. So I can imagine you could do that with Buddy, and we just didn't. Like, it just happens between 2 and 3. But the thing is, Henry doesn't just say Buddy and only Buddy. He says both Buddy and Boris, which makes me think more of Buddy as, like, a friendly nickname than, like, him calling him Buddy. Like, you never say, they always say Tom. They don't go between Tom and Boris. They just say Tom, where Henry will say Buddy and Boris. And I think in Chapter 4, I was trying to keep note of it, but I think most of the time in Chapter 4, he just says Boris. The other thing is Buddy, he can write, and that's how he writes his book. He's the one that's actually writing the book, hypothetically. And I feel like that would have been handy in Chapter 3, unless we didn't have any writing tools around, which we should have been able to, because we write the score of our games in the safe room. But an argument against that it could be Buddy, because maybe Boris was active during the time. Since they take kind of turns being awake, it could have been in Chapter 3, it could have been with Boris and not Buddy Boris, if that makes sense. So depending on which theory you want to believe, since Boris disappears when killed in Chapter 4, we can argue that this can't be Buddy, because Buddy is for sure in real life kind of dead in the studio, since Bendy drowned him in ink and, like, he's physically still there, which would mean his body would stay if we believed that theory. So you can argue things either way, for at least Benny. I don't know if that's important, who Chapter 3 Boris is, even though, like, we've discussed it, like, every single time since Chapter 3, who could this be? at this point, it's not really that important who he ends up being. Like, it doesn't solve anything. But maybe it'll come up in Dark Revival, so I at least wanted to mention it in case, like, Dreams Come to Life book ends up having a bigger story. Like, maybe it becomes canon for Dark Revival, but not for normal Bendy. So I wanted to at least throw it out there to see what happens.
Yeah.
So there's that. We also have, like, some small little things, just like the ink makes people crazy. We see that in the game. And Adobe Design fleshed things out a lot, that the ink pipes might make people crazy. They go into a lot of detail to support this, but as we know, a lot of people who worked around the pipes went a little crazy, as we can see here. And we can always hear whispering while we're by the ink, too. And I just wanted to connect that to the Dreams Come to Life book, because Sammy actually drinks the ink in the book, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, I think it was the Dreamfisher. Yep, the Dreamfisher has a theory that this ink, and, like, they mentioned it in the book that this is, like, this isn't normal ink. This is, like, the special ink. But they think that Sammy might actually be drinking ink that's taken directly from, you know, the ink demon Bendy himself, which could be why he, like, worships Bendy so much while other people just go mad. Like, you don't see anyone else worshiping Bendy like he does, but maybe he does because he's the only one that's literally drinking ink directly from Bendy. So these aren't really important theories. I just thought it was a fun thing to mention that could come up from Dark Revival for all we know.
Okay.
It's a fun thing. Another fun thing, the Dreamfisher has an idea that the studio has cartoon physics, which we can see from, you know, Henry not dying after he fall multiple floors down, or the fact that we see his desk reappear again in Chapter 5, or other things moving around. We see a lot of things moving around all the time. From the info gathered from the book, the Dreamfisher also thought that maybe drawings altered the studio's appearance. Buddy said that the studio was made out of brick, but in the game everything is wood. Allison has drawn a barn, though. So is the studio matching the drawing and becoming a wooden barn? There are a lot of drawings in this. There isn't a lot of drawings in the studio, so it's hard to say how much this is true. But I thought it was, at the very least, it was a really interesting idea. So now we're gonna move away from the books. So what's nice about the books is that it sparks ideas from people that are new, from like, hey, I'm going to take that from the book, and then it leads into something I think is more canon. And one idea is from the Dreamfisher is why there are 6 offerings in Chapter 1. So from the guidebook, which I take to be pretty canon, it says that Joey asked everyone to choose an offering item. So why only use 6 of them? The thing is that there's only 6 cartoon characters in Bendy if you don't include Nightmare Run. What's also interesting is that Joey also has some guide tips to animating in the guidebook, which is just you look at people around you for character inspiration. So the Dreamfisher got the idea that what if each of those items helped create the tune and added to their personality when created? Now, the rest of this theory I'm just going to quote because it's better said that way. So the pedestals have pipes leading through them, as if something was siphoned out of the items placed on them. So, pieces of the 6 chosen employees, essences, as Joey puts it. This would explain why Susie is speaking with Allison's voice. If it was Allison's item which was used for the ritual, Susie may have Allison's essence inside her now. It would also explain why the ink demon resembles Joey so much, and why so many people point out their similarities. Joey saw himself as Bendy, so it's only natural that he would base Bendy's mind after his own. It explains why Bertram and Sammy mistake Henry for Joey. If Henry is part Bendy, then we'd have a part of Joey's mind inside of him, which we're going to bring that up later. If the connection works both ways, it explains how Joey can see inside the studio through the eyes of the ink demon and Henry. It also explains how Wally became a good enough engineer to open his own business. He is channeling Tom Boris. So if this is true, this opens up so many ideas and possibilities, and it can actually explain a lot. So if this is the case, who donated which item for which character? And Ariel, if you would like to open up a different doc.
Okay.
We're going to go to our second doc we're going to have fun with. It's called Offerings.
Okay.
So I've put all our characters, not including Nightmare Run or Dreams Come to Life or Linda.
Oh, God.
So this is all the characters like in the game, and we have our 6 cartoon characters here. Okay. So
let's do cartoon first.
Yeah. So we think, and then we have all our items. So I think it definitely seems... Well, some things are easier. I feel like Sammy, sorry, I said you said cartoons, would donate the record. That makes sense to me, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what we believe. And I think Boris is very connected with this.
With the wrench.
With the wrench.
Yeah.
We've gone over that so many times.
Yes.
Now, we got lots to decide from here. It might be easier to go back to people. Do you think...
Yeah, maybe.
That has horns.
It does have horns. That could be Bendy. The illusion of living?
Or maybe Bendy is Bendy.
What do you mean? Oh,
Right
the
there.
Bendy
Bendy
doll?
is Bendy.
Yeah.
And
Bendy doll
Alice
too.
has horns.
Alice
So-
does have horns too. Look at
So
this.
she goes there,
It could be.
right? Because it's
It's
the
hard to
illusion
tell.
of living.
The-
So it's like she has the
Well-
illusion that she's an angel, but she's a devil.
It could be. Where I think Joey goes for the person because he wrote the book. It's his, like... Oh, gosh. It says it in here. It's like his autobiography, or it's like how he explains how to draw. Hold on.
Okay.
I can pull it up. You guys can keep messing with it. Let me find that quote.
Would Henry be the Bendy doll?
Like put his essence into it. I don't think the thing is, I don't think he was working at the studio at the time because it's in Wally's tape recording that Joey wanted all of them to put like a thing in, and if Henry's been gone for 30 years, I don't think he was here. I just put him there just cause.
No, Wally was the...
Wally is the one who says, "I'm out of here" in every chapter.
Yeah, so he's the, like, mechanic, or...
He's the janitor, but
The janitor.
he's also kind of the mechanic because you hear him talking to Tom about the ink machine. So it is.
So we don't know if he's Boris with the wrench or with the gear.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we've theorized a lot that he's with the wrench, but it could go.
Yeah.
I think it's Wally and Tom for wrench and gear, and like who knows which is which.
Okay, let's just pick.
Just put some things, there.
Shoot, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Crocodile, you guys be good.
Dreams, dreams, dreams. We hope you enjoyed the closing pages of our employee manual excerpted from The Illusion of Living by Joey Drew. His acclaimed memoir and guide to animation is what that book is.
Okay.
That is what the handbook says, which I trust.
Okay.
So I believe it would make most sense that that's Joey's essence or donated item.
Yeah.
If it's memoir.
Who's the guy who made the dolls?
Sean.
Sean.
Ooh, that's a good idea, Ariel.
It's gotta be Sean, right?
It would make that is a good idea. I like that idea.
Woohoo!
We could
Exciting.
now. Okay, so we got most of. I'm surprised we ended up doing people first.
I know, me too.
We could do like Allison. Allison didn't have her audio recording, which is why she has a picture. Like Allison could have given something because like it would help explain how Alice has that voice, but it doesn't. We don't have to go that route. We could have fun.
Okay.
Like who would have like? But Allison doesn't make sense to have ink unless we put Allison as something else.
Yeah.
So like honestly, gosh, we could put Henry. None of the others make sense. Bertram didn't mess with ink. Neither did. What did Jack do? Jack did music, but didn't compose music. He wrote lyrics for it. Lacey did stuff with Bertram. Norman was the projectionist. Grant did money. And Susie was the voice actor. Yeah, I guess do we want to put Henry for now? Henry for
Yeah,
now.
but don't we need to get Allison in there?
It could make a good idea. Like, see, this is why I thought it would be fun to put together to kind of figure this out. For then we don't like just assume like, oh yeah, that obviously can go with that and that and that, and then we end up mixing them all together.
Yeah.
Because it also brings up the fun idea: if Sammy donated this record, who did that become with? Who got that musical inspiration?
Yeah.
But. Like, Allison could have... Let's put her by the doll. We could put them both there for now. Because that's the only one that makes any sense. Like, I don't think it would be the ink. I don't think it'd be any gears or wrench. It couldn't be the book. And I really feel like Sammy would do the blah, blah, blah record. The only other one that could go with that would be Jack. Which doesn't give us much info either. So, I think this is what we feel about people. So, the fun thing...
But I thought Henry wasn't there when they had to give something to donate.
I didn't think so either, but maybe he left a jar of ink that we didn't know about. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I don't think, like, based off, like his message, I feel like not, but, you know, he could have left something, like, his old desk was there.
Yeah.
They could have just taken it from it. So, it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Which mean any of those could go with him, but ink would make the most sense. Because it doesn't make much sense for any of the others to donate ink. Because what's the quote? They want to donate something important to them or something. But anyways, let's move on to characters to keep this rolling. Let's do Alice and Bendy first.
Yeah, well, so Alice has to be here, right?
Yeah, if we want to believe that.
Yeah.
Which could work. It's not that much of a stretch. My only other idea, which is why I made two, could be here because of musical, but like it makes a lot more sense for her to be here. With Allison. And then Bendy, I think, makes the most sense to be here. Because just everything, even like when we passed out in the end of chapter 1, like we see Bendy, we see a wheelchair that goes Bendy Joey, so it makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
Which leaves the fabulous Butcher Gang that we know nothing about.
Right.
So.
Well, so one of them's a spider.
One of them's a spider.
The Itsy Bitsy Spider has a song.
The Itsy Bitsy Spider does have a song. That sounds good.
Okay. What are the other two guys? One's like a sailor. Like, he's like Popeye the Sailor
Fisher,
Man.
Yeah.
And instead of drinking spinach, he drinks ink.
And then we put Piper over here.
And he's there because he probably wears a watch with gears inside of it.
Oh, yeah. Melanie,
he looks
do
like
you
a
think
fancy
you could
man.
put Boris here? Just curious. Just throwing that idea out there.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll leave him. Okay, that's like how we have here. That's our two ideas.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so do the people go with the character, though? I mean, this is their item they donated, but does that mean they then became that character? No, right?
No. I think what it would mean is that some of their essence of that character leaks into the character we see in the studio.
Okay.
That's what I would guess that would mean. Like, that would be why, say, like, Bendy, you know, when he's revived, he has that limp of a leg, and, you know, Joey has a wheelchair in real life. His bad leg could have passed on to Bendy because they used Joey's essence to create Bendy, is kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fabulous idea.
Yes.
So, like, looking at this, I wonder what we can figure out by what we have guessed. Who goes with who? But I really like this idea because we have so many characters, but we literally still only have 6 tunes. If you don't include Nightmare Run, which I think is fine not to include. Like, it's kind of like, oh, I'm not going to include Nightmare Run, and I'm not going to include Dreams Come to Life. They're just fun things. But if Sammy's Edgar, that's fun for me, because I like both those characters. Don't know what we can make of that. He could be musical, he could be angry. What if Sammy? The thing is, we only know so much about characters, too, is the thing.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Does Piper hold a wrench? Piper holds a pipe. That can go with Tom. Because Tom does construction on the ink machine.
Oh, yeah,
so that could work.
It's
he
perfect.
channeled that, yeah. So that could work. Wally, we've talked about Wally and Boris so much. So I'm
Yeah.
not even going to start discussing that. We can totally do Allison going with Alice, which leaks into Susie. And then Henry, gosh, Henry with Piper. That's not a combo I thought would happen, but here we are.
I know, yeah, that one
Or that's with
kind of
Fisher.
is.
Sorry, Fisher, not Piper.
Oh,
but-
yeah, it's a little like a disappointing one. but-
It's a disappointing one. Yeah, I don't know what. See, Henry doesn't know much. We don't know much about Fisher either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we can conclude from that.
It's pretty inconclusive.
It's pretty inconclusive. I thought we'd gain a little bit more from doing this. But
I mean,
apparently
it was
not.
a good exercise for sure.
I think it's a
but-
good exercise. I think if anyone really wants to mess around with this and create better ideas off of this, go for it. I can even
Yeah,
give you a link to the doc if you want to mess with it.
I would love to see people's screenshots and stuff
Of their ideas of who to mix
yeah.
and match and like what that could mean.
yeah, these worksheets. Yeah, we should leave both of the worksheet links below.
Okay, they'll be in the description. If you want to mess with either of these, they're going to be in the description. Who knows who
Like-
messed with them last, so who knows what it looks like, and hopefully if anyone deleted anything,
Yeah.
let me know and I'll put it back. I thought at the very least I do like the idea of the 6 offerings are for the 6 characters, because that's the only thing that really makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hi Crocodile Mitts! Originally our Bendy overall theories were going to be in 3 parts, but with me adding a few things recently revealed about Dark Revival, it ended up making the 3rd part a little bit longer, so we decided to split it up into 2 parts. So with that being said, this ends our 3rd part, and tomorrow we will discuss in our 4th part potentially why Sammy acts like he does in Chapter 5, the One-Eye Bendy theory, and what the new merchant teasers could potentially give us hints to for Dark Revival. So I hope you guys have been enjoying our review and theory so far, and we'll see you for the last part tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!